5 years ago, in August of 2020, people were just learning about Among Us. Ellen DeGeneres was outed for being horrible, and I backed a Kickstarter for something called the Smash Stick, the world's first analog fight stick. It was specifically designed for Super Smash Bros., which at the time was my favorite game, and it cost me $500 US for the version that would come with the beta version in November of 2020 and the retail in May of 2021. If you've seen my other video on this, then you know that never actually happened. Years went by, production was delayed, the project owner stopped communicating entirely, and I had basically given up hope that I would ever receive anything. And, well, I have it, but I wish it just never existed. I cannot review this controller because it's not reviewable. It's not a product. It barely functions, in fact. So you will never be able to buy it, and that's probably a good thing. So I'm not gonna do a review on it, but I do have some thoughts on it because there are some interesting things here. In July of last year, I was blown away when this arrived at my door, except it didn't look like this. It looked like a box that was fully disassembled and was a complete pain in the ass to put together. Despite 150 people buying the beta package like I did, only 50 were actually sent out, I think specifically to US customers, because Ombre wanted to send it out in batches in case something went wrong. And if you followed anything about this product at all, something obviously was going to go wrong. I'll take a second to acknowledge that I guess I'm lucky to have received one, but of course, to no one's surprise, it doesn't work right. If you didn't watch my last video on it, you should, but to simplify, basically, if you rotate the stick shaft, it'll change what the controller outputs, which is, bad. Obviously, that's pretty bad, because it's very easy to rotate it while you're playing, and so the stick is not very accurate. The assembly was a true pain in the ass, and I'm actually gonna save you from the rant I originally had on that, but just know, this sucked to put together. And it also didn't work because one of the wire harnesses was wired backwards. So you had a choice. You could A, wait for Ombre to send out new harnesses, or B, redo the harnesses yourself. I did my best to redo the harness that he sent myself. I've had zero prior experience, so it went about as well as you would expect.
So, that sucks.
I had waited this long for the controller. I figured I could wait a little bit longer for the new wire harnesses to come in, so I did. I waited 6 months. Ombre has not sent a message to the Discord since August of last year. Those wire harnesses are not coming. I eventually looked up a guide and redid it myself. It's definitely not perfect. It might not even be good, but the controller works now. So, after 5 long years of waiting, was it worth the wait? No. No, it's no. Nope. No. It's pretty rough, actually. First of all, it's massive, which does make sense from an ergonomic perspective, but like functionality wise, this sucks so much to take anywhere. This takes up like a suitcase worth of space. It's not particularly heavy, but like I've been using a Super Slab for a while. Like it's a leverless, but like I'm never going back to this. That's insane. It's too big. The connector up front is wild. I'm pretty sure this is an Ethernet to N64 cable. This might be the one of like 100 to exist ever. The buttons are great. I'm pretty sure they're Sanwas. They're gonna be great in anything. The ball top is pretty good. The cushion on the back is good, I guess. It's nice that you can swap out art, but I'm pretty sure it's a pain. There's some ugly stuff I gotta talk about. First of all, this stick it's just not great. In addition to the obvious rotation issue, it just doesn't feel like it has enough range to be accurate with it, which is like weird to say, but it didn't matter how much I try to calibrate it or remap my angles, small values were really difficult to pinpoint on it, and it was really easy to hit the edge of the restrictor plate. Like, way too easy. Can't walk. Oh my god. I can't say for certain whether or not that's a Smash Stick specific problem or if it's like all analog sticks are like this, like all analog fight sticks, but like wasn't fun to use. And speaking of remapping, the remapping software works about 25% of the time on some computers only, and I can't figure out why. For some reason, if I plugged it into my PC, it would never work. But if I plugged it into my laptop, it would sometimes work. And so I'd have to use my laptop every time I wanted to change something. And unfortunately, I wanted to change things often because of the elephant in the room, the biggest problem with this controller, the reason I will never use this controller again. The layout is just so awful, like brutally bad. This was outdated when it was unveiled years ago. It's so laughably outdated now that it feels like I'm pulling up to a set with like a rotary phone. Every other box controller uses a thumb cluster right here, right down here. All of them have this. This makes so much sense. Someone cooked so hard that every other box controller stole the idea because it was really good, right? Put the right stick on your thumb, because there's never really a moment where you need to press multiple of these buttons at once, and if you do, you can lay your thumb across them. This is so intuitive and convenient and so smart, and then you have all of these other buttons for every other function you need on a GameCube controller, for wave dashing, for multi-shining, for everything. What are they thinking here? This is crazy design. We're just gonna curve the hand around a little bit. We'll just throw some extra buttons down there. Oh yeah, let's throw the C stick. Let's split it up for some reason, which is illegal now, by the way. They added some extra buttons down here to like make up for the fact that like there aren't enough buttons in this home row without the thumb cluster. Because the thumb cluster is the C stick, right? So they're like, oh, we'll just throw the C stick everywhere else. So like, oh, the C stick down is down here, up, left, right. Like, so now you're doing all of the C stick buttons with different fingers, which feels so horrible and unintuitive. And you've lost your home row, right? Like, you can't wave dash up top anymore because those are C stick buttons now. So like, all of these buttons are mapped to individual things, and so they don't make sense in conjunction with each other, right? You've just thrown the buttons on like it's a keyboard. I might have to streamline this a little bit. I'm losing myself a bit in the nitty gritty here, because I could give 1,000 reasons why I think this design sucks, but the point is that it doesn't matter, right? Like, this product does not exist. This will never receive a version 2. You're never going to be able to buy it. The retail version that was promised is never going to come out. This is fully abandoned. This is abandoned hardware. It's going to sit on my wall behind me as like a museum artifact that I can glance at and be like, oh yeah, that's why I don't buy Kickstarter things anymore. $500. I spent $500 US on this. In this economy. I will say, ironically, there is one thing that this controller is actually pretty decent at. And no, it's not Super Smash Bros. It's not Mario 64. It's Street Fighter 6. There we go. Well, I did it. And that one too. Because there are no analog inputs in Street Fighter, it just converts them all to digital, and at that point, it's a pretty serviceable fight stick. But I play on leverless. So what's the point, right? Like, why am I telling you about this? Well, 3 reasons. 1, I think some people were curious if I'd ever actually received the stick after the last video I did on it. So, ta-da! If anyone wants it, hit me up. Maybe we can work something out, because God knows I don't. But B, I think it's a bit of a cautionary tale about spending money on Kickstarter. Don't spend money on Kickstarter that you're not comfortable losing. Unfortunately, it's still gambling. But C, there are a lot of people that did spend a lot of money on this controller, and it exists, and the parts for it are out there. They're sitting in a warehouse, I think in Florida right now, and there is someone out there that maybe legally, but definitely morally, is obligated to send the people that spent that money the controller. He's just not doing that. Like, a community member in Smash Bros has scammed people for over $100,000, and that just feels wrong. I feel like we should be more mad about that. So this is what I'm doing, right? It's not much, but this is what I'm doing. You should do something else. I had dibs on the video, but get mad, right? Like, this is ridiculous. And that's all for me. Write your congressman. I don't know. Subscribe. And hopefully I'll see you in a better mood in the next video. Peace.